Says that I'm live. All right. All right. Of course, we're going to give it, of course. You know the routine. Give it a couple of minutes. Let's see who comes into the chat. And because it's always nice to be able to communicate with you folks. And I brought up the video, had to put it on pause. And let's see. So excited. New book came in the mail today. Very excited about this book. Oh, I've got two people. Probably just one. I might be the other person. Oh, hey, did you guys check? Welcome, Christina. Good afternoon. Is it afternoon already? Come on, please don't let it be afternoon. Is it afternoon already? Oh, it sure is. It's 12:30. I don't know, Christina, you should check out. I was live this morning at 10 o'clock. Female Orgasm was that show. So you might want to check it out. Hopefully, Lana McAllister was my guest. I mean, personally, I think that would have been a better show to do at nighttime, before we get our sexy on. But hey, as my one psychologist friend said, she's like, hey, might inspire some people in the morning. All right. So yeah, check out the video archives. All right. Okay, I got my glasses. Check out the video archives and you will see female orgasms. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay. So for those of you who are tarot fanatics, buffs, readers, or just dabble, I found out about this book, Tarot Correspondences, Ancient Secrets for Everyday Readers. Includes over 100 essential tablets and charts. It's by T. Susan Chang. So I am always interested in seeing publications, especially in the metaphysical realm, publications by women, and more than just women, by women of color. T. Susan Chang, I believe she's Asian American, and she has a podcast. What's the podcast called? I think it's called Fortune Wheels of Fortune, or Fortune's Wheel, something like that. But anyway, Abell had posted on her Facebook page regarding this book, and I was just like, ooh, gotta check that out. And it came in the mail just now. Well, actually, I had ordered it off of Amazon, and I don't know what happened, but the book was shipped, and then it just sort of poof, disappeared into oblivion, into the black hole, into nothingness. It was like there was tracking on November 6th. I'm sorry, November 2nd. And mind you, I have Amazon Prime, so 2-day shipping. It just like disappeared. And I was like, what the heck? It's bad enough that I'm waiting on pins and needles to receive the Spirit Keepers Tarot that Miss Wynn had produced. She hand drew this entire tarot deck in like a month, and then she got it printed, self-published, all of this within a matter of maybe 2 months, I think. Not even that, 2-3 months tops. She and her husband are doing a fabulous job. They sold out 1,000 Spirit Keeper Tarot deck in like 3 days. So B.MSc Wynn is my hero. So anyway, let's see. Oh, Christina says, you must have felt my spirit because I'm a newbie and I'm trying to learn about tarot. I want to use my gift to help and maybe counsel people. So Christina, let me tell you. Oh, now that you said that, we're going to look at this book, but since you said that, let me go ahead and get you the Holistic Tarot, show you this book. So I would say if you really want good, detailed, in-depth information on the tarot, I'm going to show you 3 books, and I'll show you the 2 that I would suggest if you want really deep, in-depth information. And one of the books is just to help you do it intuitively. So we'll start off small, then to great. Okay. So this book, The Intuitive Tarot, I think it might still be in publication, or you'd have to find it in the used section. But you want to make sure it's the one by Richard Gordon with Dixie Taylor. I think there is another tarot book called Intuitive Tarot, but this one is very simple. It really gets down to the basics and really helps you to connect with your intuition. And he encourages meditation, really connecting with your higher self, really going within and really getting to, you have a basic understanding of the cards, but primarily he is all about really your intuitive knowing. Okay. So this book is a small book. Here's the table of contents. I actually have 2 copies of this book. I don't even use this one. I don't know where my other copy is. So introduction, chapter 2, metaphysics defined. 3, the mind-brain connection. 4, vision of the mind, how the mind manifests. 6, dealing with patterns, opening a channel to the God self. 8, guided meditation. 9, why work with the tarot. And then 10, going with the energy flow. And then more on reading, layouts, reading, suggested meanings for the card. And I like how he titles that chapter 13, suggested meanings for the cards. Because bottom line, it doesn't matter what the books say or the little white book. Throw away that little white book that comes with the tarot deck. You really want to get in touch with your own intuitive knowing. It's good to know the basics, but then where the in-depth comes from is connecting with your own intuitive knowing. So this is a wonderful book. And again, make sure the author is Richard Gordon. Because like I said, there's another book called Intuitive Tarot, and that's not this book. And so, let's see. So half of the book is prepping you. And I like, because he's not trying to tell you what the cards mean. He's really trying to get you to connect with your own inner knowing so that you develop a relationship with this ageless wisdom. And the reason why it's ageless is because it's up to your personal interpretation, bottom line, not cookie cutter, and suggested meanings for the cards. Ignore that. It's just my computer over there. Starts with the Fool, Magician. I was about to say musician. It's the Rider-Waite deck. And there are like 50 different, if not more, Rider-Waite versions. So I would encourage you to at least start with the Rider-Waite. And if you're not into the vintage version, the Universal Rider-Waite is beautiful, and the Radiant Rider-Waite. And that is basically like how they're colored, how the decks are colored. The Emperor. And then, so that's the 22 major arcana. Then the minor arcana, and kind of groups all the aces together, gives you an idea what does ace stand for. And then you look at the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Swords, and all of that. So that's this book. And then in the back, giving you lots of example spreads and how he interpreted these spreads. So if your funds were limited and you were just to get one book on tarot, and you really want to learn how to have your own intuitive connection, bottom line, which I think is superb. Again, it is important to have a basic baseline understanding of the cards, but I think it is more apropos, to build on that foundation, to really be able to approach it intuitively as well. So that way you make the readings uniquely yours. So there you go. Welcome, Teresa. Welcome. Okay. So if you wanted to really get in depth and, really journey into the metaphysics and spiritual, I wasn't planning on bringing out this book, but it's right here by my my futon, Tarot and the Journey of the Hero. So this is a lot to do with Carl Jung, Jungian philosophy, Joseph Campbell's Journey of the Hero. This is another phenomenal book. Now, this book I know is out of print. I have 2 copies of it. Look at that, Conscious Mind, Unconscious Mind. I think they use the Radiant. No, this is the Universal. Because I think the Radiant, the words are typeset, and the Universal, they keep the handwritten. So this goes through, I'll have to be honest. So I've been connected. I grew up in the house where my mother had tarot deck. She had a Ouija board too, but she was like, do not touch that Ouija board. Ouija boards are no bueno. But anyway, she had tons of metaphysical books on the shelf, and ESP. My mother is very highly psychically in tuned, however you want to say it. So I'm kind of like a second generation from that. I have my own innate abilities. Both of my brothers. My mother would hear things, and she's really good at psychometry. I was always seeing things as a child, spirits, entities, not so much ghosts, I don't think, or, deceased people. I do not believe, I'm not sure, but entities that weren't supposed to be there in the physical, I was seeing them, and I was completely freaked out. And I was not, sorry, I need to get some water. I've been eating these cardboard like seeded crackers that are gluten-free. They look like little chopped up shredded pieces of cardboard. My friend gave them to me this morning. She's like, I don't know, you might like these. I took a bite into these and I was like, ugh, and I couldn't open the rest. I was like, oh yeah, that's right up my alley. I like things that dry like cardboard and have chips in them, seeds in them. Anyway, what was I saying? I was always seeing entities when I was a small child. Mind you, I was not one of those like scary kids. I did not need a night light to sleep with. Being in a pitch black room did not frighten me. So I wasn't a scary child, and I didn't have a hyperactive imagination. I was a kid who enjoyed spending time alone. I played out in nature a lot. I used to get teased and beat up a lot by other kids. I was, the weird kid, especially when we moved from Chicago to down south to Atlanta. This is like 1979. So having a name like Tamu and Gina, that was pretty weird. And then I had, this brown skin and hazel eyes with a little bit of green, where my eyes change colors depending on my mood. So playing outside at recess, my eyes would get a brighter color green. So the kids would call me devil eyes or evil eyes, cat eyes. So, I had no problem with being alone, and things were always trying to reach out to me and touch me, and I was having none of it. It's interesting as an adult, you see people get into metaphysics or meditation because they're trying to connect with entities, and I'm like, I want nothing to do with that. As only as I've gotten on the other side of my late 30s, and now I'm into my late 40s. God forbid, where the freak did all the time go? Oh, now that I'm older, I'm learning more to let go of that fear and be okay with connecting with whatever is on the other side of that veil, slowly but surely. Teresa said, maybe you could expand on the no-no of spirit boards. Well, at least from what my understanding is, spirit board. You don't know what spirit you're connecting with. And I mean, I don't really know how it works, but there's portals everywhere, and you just want to be careful because, as they say, you can have an agent of, I hate to use the term dark and light because I don't really think of dark and light as being opposites or bad, but the same side of the same coin. But getting in touch with entities or spirits that, or energies that really do not have good intentions for you in mind. You don't know what you're reaching out to. You might think you're trying to connect with your dead Auntie Sally, and it could be someone's Auntie Mary who was an absolute tyrant, or it could be some other kind of entity. And if you're not well grounded, well established, if you're not, don't have your feet shodded with truth and protection and, your whole armor on, you might dabble into something that you may not know how to get out of. So you just want to be careful. So I don't mess with the Ouija boards. And even when you're doing tarot cards, and anytime you're connecting intuitively, you're open, you're allowing yourself to be open. So you have to make sure that you're grounded and that you're in a good space and you can handle what you're dealing with. So playing around with Ouija boards, you just never know. And I remember my mother telling me the story about when she bought her Ouija board. She had bought it, and I don't know if she had it on her that day, but she was out. And she said that there was this white gentleman, this elderly man that she ran into. He was like in an all black suit, and he had a black wide brim hat on, almost kind of like the Amish. And I can't remember the exact conversation that she told me that she had, but the gist of it was all of a sudden she had just bought this spirit board, as Teresa calls it, the Ouija board. And this elderly man, who seemed like he could have been like some kind of preacher or minister, didn't know where he came from. It was kind of weird. It's kind of like the stuff you see in a Stephen, is it Stephen King? Is that right? Stephen King? Yeah. A Stephen King movie. Is the guy's name Stephen? I can't remember, but you know what I mean. King does all the scary movies. Carrie, Christina, Pet Sematary. For whatever reason, he started talking about the Ouija board and how she should never be involved with an Ouija board, stay away from it. And she didn't know. She was like, okay, to me, that's a sign from the universe telling me, for her, at least, it's not a touch. And yes, there are people who do mess with them, but you just never know. You just want to be careful. Stay in your lane. Stay in your grade and your lane. I hope that helps. Welcome, David. Welcome. You are welcome, Teresa. Okay, so where was I? So this book, Tarot and the Journey of the Hero. This goes through the 22 major arcana. Oh, I know what it was. My friend, the psychologist, the one who gave me the cardboard crackers that you just heard me just about choke on because they're so dry, but they are so flavorful. She's a psychologist. She's about 64. She and I became friends after I had led a couple of full moon drumming sessions, rituals at a local yoga place, and she was doing tarot readings there. That was maybe about 6 years ago. No, actually it was 7 years ago. Wow. And I took my one crystal bowl. Did I have my crystal bowl there? Yeah, so that must have been six or 7 years ago. Yeah, I was right the first time, 7 years ago. And we did some things together at the yoga place, and then 2 years we didn't see each other, or maybe 2 years. And I happened to run into her at the laundromat. And we happened to be talking about female hormones and all of that. And then I was like, oh, I like her after all. And really beautiful soul, just the coolest, one of the coolest women that I know. And somehow we got on the subject of tarot. Oh, of course we got on the subject of tarot because she did tarot, and she happened to mention that in psychology, sometimes she, will use the tarot as a tool in the psychology practice. And I was like, oh. And then she said, but just the 22 major arcana, and look at it as the hero's journey. And I was like, oh, finally it made sense to me, because before I was just looking at 78 cards and could make hide nor hair out of them, heads nor tail out of them, and didn't understand that, at least when it started with the 22 major arcana, that there's a journey, there's a story that's being told. And it's the journey of the fool becoming one's own hero. And so that's what this book is about. But again, like I said, this book is out of print, but you can get it either on Amazon or ABE books. But you're looking at maybe about $55, 30. I think I got mine for like $36. One of them I got on eBay. So yeah, you can also check eBay as well. So this is Journey of the Hero. Okay, now Abell Wynn. Oh, here are the crackers that I was talking about. These crackers. I'm not going to eat one right now, because if I eat one right now, I might just choke. Doesn't it? It looks like shredded up cardboard, pressed together, and it has all these different seeds in it. And it is so good. I just want to just keep eating them, and it's sucking up all the moisture out of my body. So anyway, that would be good with either some cheese or some avocado on there, or my favorite, sardines. Okay, so the illustrious Abell Wynn wrote this book, Holistic Tarot. This woman doesn't do anything half-assed, I'm telling you. This book, how many pages is this book? Oh, here's Abell. Isn't she adorable? That's Abell Wynn. She's a corporate attorney. She is, she's not formally trained as an artist, but she is an artist. And I think she underrates herself because, she's got like super, super, super high standards. Her medium standards are my high standards. So anyway, she's a corporate attorney. She is also a Taoist magical practitioner. She's awesome. So this book is like 800 pages. As it's called An Integrative Approach to Using Tarot for Personal Growth. And my whole thing about tarot, I'm not into tarot for trying to divine the future, trying to foretell the future. I think of tarot as a spiritual tool for understanding the energies as they are in your life and how to use them, sort of along the lines of the I Ching. Sorry, I need to get a sip. I know I'm a little hyper this morning because this afternoon I had a big cup of black tea this morning, and then like 6 biscuits from Belgium that were way too sweet. So this book, Integrative Approach to Using Tarot for Personal Growth, and it's a heavy book. I think this book is at least 3 pounds. It says, no, this is Chick and Tabitha Cicero. I also have their Golden Dawn Magical Tarot. They said no tarot enthusiast should be without this book. And so I highly, like, if you were just going to get one book and one book only, I would either get this Holistic Tarot or the Intuitive Tarot, depending on what your budget is. And I think this book goes for about $20 on Amazon, maybe $18. She gives you charts and keywords. You can take a look. Let's see. Cat Black, author of Golden Tarot, a modern masterwork in the analytical tarot canon. The depth of Wynn's research and the breadth of her scope are truly stunning. Her work will sit comfortably on the bookshelf with that of Stuart Kaplan, Mary Greer, and Rachel Pollack as defining works in modern tarot, and I could not agree with her more. and change just to give you an idea of what some of the chapters are. She is adorable. Critical break. She is. And she's a Libra, like me. Man, she is fierce. She is passionate, and she takes no prisoners. And I love her. She has a YouTube channel. I'm not sure what her YouTube channel is called other than maybe Abell Win, Benebell Win. Okay. Chapter 1, Tarot Analytics, a holistic approach, concise history lesson, allaying fears and offering theories, from fear to understanding, synchronicity, apophenia, and patternicity, the Forer effect, divine and occult theories, myth of the divination, fulfilling prophecy, the theory of chi, projective psychological testing, how to choose your deck, anatomy of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, tarot. Talks about how to create a personal journal, tarot journal, and then beginning rote learning. So she goes through everything. And here she really talks about the analytical approach to it and not so much the intuitive approach. But of course, she's matured since she's written this book and, believes it's important to have all of that. But I think she wrote this book 2000. Let me see. I don't have to guess. This is North Atlantic Books. This was 2015. But even though it was published in 2015, I think it was written a couple of years before that. And James, my temperance, that's her husband. He is an awesome guy as well. So look at this. Look at this element chart. This encyclopedia of card meanings. Look at that. Gives you all the elements and the cards that would fall into that element, the elemental interpretation of it and whatnot. So that's another book. So Christina, that is another book. So if you just wanted to get your feet wet and you want to, whatever books you get, I still would suggest the Intuitive Tarot, because like I said, the most important thing is to connect with the center of yourself when you're doing readings. And last but not least, what we were here for, the book that arrived today, and I found out about this lovely woman, another Asian American woman, T. Susan Chang, Tarot Correspondences, Ancient Secrets for Everyday Tarot for Everyday Readers, includes over 100 essential tables and charts. And I learned about her through Abell. She had a post on her Facebook page. And this is Llewellyn Publications. This is not quite, is that magazine size? Well, yeah, it's not quite, a little bit smaller than magazines. It's a nice, large book. So part 1, correspondence tables, correspondence for the 22 major arcana, correspondence for the 4 suits, correspondence for the 40 numeric minor arcana, the ace through 10. Table 1, conventional, historical, and hermetic titles, astrological correspondences, tree of life correspondences, alternate astral alphanumeric correspondences, color scales of the Golden Dawn, natural, magical, mythical correspondences, numerological reduction. I mean, I literally just received this book in the mail. She says, if you're reading this book, chances are you're a tarot reader. Maybe you've been reading for decades, or maybe you just picked up your first deck. In either case, you are a traveler on a lifelong journey with the cards. And for one reason or another, you have a hunch that a strong, wonky dose of esoteric knowledge, is going to help you become a better reader. Enter the correspondences, a paradise of neatly organized data points for your inner nerd, witch, wizard, systems fanatic. What are tarot correspondences? Tarot correspondences are patterns and connections inherited from esoteric systems. In tarot, correspondences line up with specific cards. For example, if you're familiar with astrology, you know that there's a basic system that includes planets, elements, and the signs of the zodiac. Each of these corresponds to a tarot card. For example, the planet Jupiter corresponds to the Wheel of Fortune. The sign of Virgo corresponds to the Hermit. Tarot correspondences date back to about the mid-18th century. And because of tarot's powerful symbolic imagery, you can find correspondences to innumerable mythologies, cosmogonies, I think that's how you say that, and belief systems. Okay. Why does tarot need correspondences? As every witch, ceremonial magician, and scholar of the magical arts knows, it always comes down to this goes with that. Everything has a pair. The doctrine of sympathy is our inheritance from the Hermetic thinkers of the 17th century, 17 centuries ago, and it still packs a punch. Correspondences aren't just the reference material or the data set behind the magic, they are the magic. They are embedded in the structure of every modern deck, whether we recognize it or not. Correspondences are a friend to the imagination, not its enemy. I believe correspondences don't just reveal why we see the images we do in each card. They are also a fertile place to plant the seed for our own interpretation. So imagination, intuition, interpretation, I believe those go hand in hand. Okay. So just to give you an idea of some of the charts, okay, conventional, historical, and hermetic titles. Like for instance, the conventional 0 is the Fool. The alternative English title, the Foolish Man. The unnumbered card, the Crocodile. I've also seen it in the Marseille Tarot as, I think, the Trickster or the Jester. The Magician is also known as the Juggler, the Magus, the Mountebank, the Thimble Rigger, and the Quarter Penny. Never heard of all of those. Wow. In the Hermetic title, the Magus of Power, or the Fool, the Spirit of Either. So this is the historical. Then you have the astrological correspondences, like the Fool connects with the air or Uranus, the Magician Mercury, the High Priestess Moon, the Empress Venus, the Emperor Aries, and then it gives you the birth dates. So if you're doing an astrological reading for someone, you can also tap into the tarot card. Tree of Life correspondences, the Fool Aleph, which is the first in the Hebrew alphabet. Okay, because I was looking, I said, okay, that's just the Hebrew letters. What about the actual Sephirot from the Tree of Life? So you have the Fool, Aleph, which is, and it's a mother, is considered a mother letter. There are 3 mother letters. I believe it's Aleph, Mem, and I think Shin might be another mother letter, but we're going to go all into that. This isn't a class. So the Fool, Aleph, mother, is connected to ox, strength, and teach. Air, Keter and Chokhmah, which is crown and wisdom. Keter and Chokhmah, or Chakmah, depending on your pronunciation, whether it's the pure Hebrew, which is Chakmah, or the Yiddish. If you're of the Yiddish Jewish persuasion, it would be Chokhmah. Anyway, the Magician, Bet, High Priestess, Gimel. So that's pretty nice. And it goes through all of the 10 Sephirot and which 22 major arcana goes with which Sephirot. So Keter, Chokhmah, Binah, Chesed, Geburah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Hout. I don't think they did a good job of transliterating Hod, because HOW, think of that as Howd, like Howard. So Yesod, Malkuth, and then it gives you the tree of life. So if you wanted to get the cards lined up, another great resource for tarot is Bota. Oh my gosh, Paul Case. Paul, I think it's, yeah, Paul Foster Case. His organization, and the actual meaning of the name escapes me, but it's BOTA, and they still sell just the 22 major arcana in a 5x7 size that you can color yourself, which is a great way to understand the tarot. And he gives you the tree of life and to learn how to get the correspondences. And then you will love this book, David. And I'm just spending some time just going through. Oh, okay. So we have the tree of life, and then we have the Ein Sof, the Ein Sof Or, the Kabbalistic worlds, Atzilut, Binah, the Atzilut, the archetypal world, Briah, the creative world, Yetzirah, the formative world, and Asiyah, the active world. And I'm sure a lot of this information comes from Sefer Yetzirah, which is one of the oldest books on the Kabbalah. Okay, so alphanumeric correspondences. Ooh, that's an interesting little diagram, geometric pattern. Isn't that cool? Explaining the strength, justice, and the Hey Sadi switch. Hey Sadi switch. Sadi is one of the letters, and Sadi is also related to Sadiq, which is righteous one. Mythical correspondence. Oh, let's check this out. Okay, I'm going to have to call my son back. He just called me, must finally got a new phone. Natural, magical, mythical correspondences. The Fool. Animal, eagle, crocodile, birds. Oh, hold on one second. Hey, sweetheart, I'm in the middle of doing a live. Can I call you back in about 20 minutes? Okay. All right. Just wanted to do that because he called me twice. It's one of my babies. This is his first year in grad school up at the University of Chicago studying quantum physics. So I'm sure it's been a new adjustment for him. So I'll have to call him back. Okay. Animal, eagle, crocodile, birds, butterflies, insects. There was no bull in there. Would have put the ox in there. Anyway, plant, aspen, bamboo, linden, almond, perfume, galbanum, grass, pines, firs, synthetic aldehydes, and magician, baboon, monkey, ibis, coyote. I was about to say coyote, coyote, fox, greyhound, hare, weasel, ape, nightingale, thrush. I thought thrush was a disease. Lark, parrot, mullet. I thought mullet was a bad haircut. There's an animal called a mullet. I didn't know that. Plant, marjoram, vervain, almond, aspen, bamboo, caraway, clover, and then gemstone or metal, quicksilver, marcasite, opal, all metals that are struck as coins, mythic figures. Mercury, Hermes, Trismegistus, Odin, Thoth, Hanuman, Loki. That's interesting. Why would I think Loki would go as the Fool? I don't know. Anyway, and then magical weapon, the wand or the caduceus. And for the Fool, the dagger or fan. For the high priestess, the bow or the arrow is the mythical weapon. Musical note and correspondence colors. So this is just to give you, it's a chart, it's all of the cards. And then the correspondence for the major arcana and the suits. So this book is just chart after chart, so you can do all the cross-referencing. Oh, and what's great about, if you do practice, whatever type of magic you practice, I don't know, natural, ceremonial, these books are great because whatever it is that you're creating, whether it's a work of art or you're creating a talisman, and you want to bring together all of these elements that will really help to energize and make your talisman the most energetic as possible, that is one of the reasons why you would use correspondences. You would know what sigil, what thing to carve on there, what tarot card goes with that. Oh, okay, so that's the color scales of the Golden Dawn, nomenclature, astrology, and corresponding minors. So that is this book. For directions, for stages, wait a minute, sorry. Whoop. For directions, for seasons, for stages of growth. One of the greater controversies when we play matchy match with the number 4 is which cardinal direction each suit corresponds to and which season. Ask 24 tarot readers and you'll get 24 different answers. Although if you ask 2 million readers, you will get, wait a minute. If you ask 2 million readers, you still only get 24 different answers because there are only 24 possible ways of assigning the suits. The tables in part 1 show some of the most common variants. It is no surprise that there's so little agreement regarding directional correspondences. Yeah, I'm still working on that myself. How can we agree that wands equals fire, equals south, equals hot, dry, equals summer, when half the world, the southern hemisphere, experiences winter as its warmest season, okay, like in Australia. When it's winter here, it's basically summer there. Nevertheless, once you've settled on your choice of correspondence, and of course the emphasis on your was mine, correspondences, you can use them to inform your readings in interesting ways. So I'm just going to interject there. The most important thing you can do for yourself when you're doing your study is when you've presented with different opinions or something, you need to divine for yourself what resonates with you, what you feel is best, and stick with that to build up the energy into that, and not to just be wishy-washy and go back and forth and do this one this time and this one that time, because then there's no true energetic resonance that gets you into that groove because you're going back and forth. Okay. And let's see, the elements and the quartz. Astrological. Now, of course, in Abell's book, she does have some charts and she does have correspondences in there. And Abell Wynn recommended this book because I don't know if it's a Libra thing or maybe it's a Virgo thing. Oh, love to categorize and classify and do research. So check this out. Virtue, activation, shaping. What is this? Cyclical processes. Interesting. Very interesting. Ooh, 4. Using Kabbalistic correspondences. Climbing the tree of life of unknowable fruit. Whoops. For those with academic inclinations or those who simply like to learn, the Hermetic version of the Tree of Life is like walking into a massive warehouse of knowledge. Each card has a place in its branches. Open the door marked 9 of Cups, and you enter a room full of star lore, myths, plants and animals, especially fish, living and dead gods. It's illuminated by moonlight and bathed in water and purple mist. Its 4 exits are marked temperance and the star and sun and world. It's the place where dreams and wishes go to shape reality, and you know all that because of what is in the moon. Wow, okay, cool. All the answers are there if only you can find them. So it's like busting into the Federal Reserve of magic and adding fuel and power and centuries of wisdom to what you know and adding your bit to it. And that, again, is what I want to reiterate to everyone. Whatever you read and whatever you study, You know, there's a verse in the Bible, a wise man or wise woman takes counsel of many. But then when it comes down to it, you have to distill your own answer. So using our ancestors and our forebearers and their knowledge, because, hey, why reinvent the wheel? You have your will, but then you modify that will for yourself. So once you've learned, and then you create your own unique way. So Tamu and Gina will have her own unique way. David Lux will have his own unique way, and Christina Thompson, she will have her own new way, and so will Teresa and Pavel and CB. Welcome to all of you. I thought I saw CB here, but she was on my earlier video. Oh, thank you, David. Thank you. David says, well, your son is studying quantum physics at University of Chicago. Yes, in grad school. He's a first-year grad student. He graduated Tufts University, last spring with honors. Very proud of him. And yes, he's studying quantum physics. And my oldest son is a second-year grad student at Brown University, and he is he's getting a PhD in cognitive sciences. So he graduated Cornell with honors in cognitive psychology, or was it cognitive sciences and psychology. And his whole shtick is all about his studies and research is in 3D perception. And so what I understand it to be is like the world is actually in 2D, but our brain creates the third dimension. And so he does research on understanding what goes on psychologically inside of a person to cause them to perceive the third dimension, to perceive our 3D world the way they do. Because remember, you can have 5 people watch an accident, but all of them are going to have a sometimes completely different perception of what happened. Both emotionally and I guess the tangible scene that they saw. So I think that's really cool. So yes, I'm very proud of my boys. Thank you, David. Yes, I am one of those mothers who like to brag about her children because they are my greatest accomplishment. Then I have a third son who is a sophomore in music conservatory at University of Rochester, Eastman School of Music, and he is a jazz trumpet player. Although he tells me, don't say I'm a jazz musician. I'm a musician. His forte is freaking jazz. I mean, he literally sounds like a reincarnated jazz great. And I mean like that organic jazz from like the 40s and 50s, like Coltrane, Freddie Hubbard, I can't think of their names. So I just knew Coltrane, Miles Davis, Adderley, and Monk. And through my son, I've learned about all these different musicians. But when he plays, it is like a religious experience. He's just absolutely phenomenal. And then I have an 8-year-old who's still at home. And he is 8 going on 38. Anyway, David just brought out the gushing mother. I digress. I apologize, everybody. Nobody wants to hear all of that. Numbers on the Tree of Life, the Sephirot, and Major Arcana. Oh, thank you, David. That was so sweet of you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so this is what we got here. This is what we got. And then she takes you into putting it all together, interpretation, creation, and magic. Oh, this is freaking awesome. Creative techniques. So not only does she give you fuel for the fodder, She shows you how to turn it into fire, honey. Creative techniques, power of the pen. To read tarot is to forge a connection, perpetually changing, perpetually growing with your cards and yourself. You can do it by interpretation, by reading for yourself or others, by research, by memorization, and by observation. See, reading backward from life. I guess that must be another section. As diviners, we hunt for meanings and signs and symbols. Some look there for insight, some for prediction. I'm more on the terms of insight, where that insight can lead you to what could be a possible outcome. So here's what you can do to help get you to where you want to be. So this is all about tarot, not as going to the fortune teller and telling me, will I marry? You know what I mean? Approaching tarot as a tool for spiritual growth. The diviner's way, the magician's way, and the ordinary reality. And then there's backstage, reading, perception, acceptance, and perspective. The working, intention, action. Graphic model of reality, magic, and divination. So yeah, I highly recommend this book. If you were only to get 4 tarot books, it would be the books that I showed you. This is Tarot Correspondence. I especially love it because it's written by an Asian American woman, and I think that's really, really awesome. We need more women of color represented and their voices out. The first book I showed you was The Intuitive Tarot. And if you could only afford one book on tarot to get you started, I would suggest this, because he really talks about pointing you to within and really developing your connection with the tarot, okay? Your interpretation. And again, when you look up the Intuitive Tarot, I think there's another book on the market with the same name, so make sure you get the one by Richard Gordon, A Metaphysical Approach to Reading the Tarot. And this is just sort of icing on the cake, Tarot and the Journey of the Hero. This one is out of print as far as I know, so please check Amazon, check eBay. I got my copies off of eBay, at least one of them off of eBay, for a very good price. I think I only paid like $36. ABE, you might see it for $54. Okay. And last but not least, Holistic Tarot by Abell, an integrative approach to using tarot for personal growth. And honey buns, this is an 800. Okay, look, she's got massive appendixes in here. She's got a lot of wonderful charts. And if you're an artist and you like to use your tarot for inspiration, she's got the full Marseille deck printed, or at least the 22 major arcana. And this book is 870 pages. And B.MSc just published her very first full-fledged tarot deck, Spirit Keepers Tarot. She did her first edition. She's not sure if she's going to do another edition. I believe it's sold out. You might get lucky and find one on the market. She sold 1,000 decks in less than 3 days. And she wrote a 475-page guidebook for the deck. And this is not just some frilly, funny deck. It is a deck to encourage spiritual growth. That's why it's called Spirit Keepers Tarot. So there you go. I'm going to look. Oh, thank you, CB. CB says, we put much hard work into our offspring. They're a reflection of our hard work. Yes. Thank you, CB. She says, I have a right to be proud. Check out CB's channel, Critical Break, here on YouTube. And I'm just going to check the chat room, see if anyone has any final questions before I sign off. I didn't mean for this video to be an entire hour, but hey, it is what it is. I started talking, and my dad told me that I was talking as I was coming through the birth canal. He said I was inside of my mother and I was wailing. And he said that when I was born, I stopped crying, and I didn't cry again until the lights were turned off. Yeah. Okay. So I'm about to have another one of these cardboard crackers. I know it looks kind of gross, but it's so good. But you got to drink a lot of water because it's making my throat and tongue really dry. Anyway, much love to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Please remember to hit the thumbs up. Please remember to subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell. Check out my video from earlier this morning, Female Orgasm. It was pretty good. My guest was Lana McAllister. She was a sweetheart, very cool, awesome woman. Met her on Facebook. And yeah, so have a great day. I'm going to work on my painting. Here, let me show you. I have a little 8x8. I think this is an 8x. Whoa, what was that? I have an 8x8. Started working on my sacred geometry stuff, so I got the foundation laid, and I'm like been trepidatious about laying down the color. Oh, I don't know why, but I got a breakthrough, so I'm gonna do some meditation, light my incense, and release the fear and commit to the canvas. So that's what I'm gonna do while I watch some Netflix and chill in the background. So let's take a moment to remember our ancestors and all those who have come before us. Nice deep centering breath. This is Tamu Ngina, Priestess Heart. Thank you for being here. I wish you peace, sweet, complete peace, and great bliss.